As students, there are days we feel so motivated that we read for long hours and get a lot of things done. But there are also some times we all feel like not doing a single thing about school and just lying down in bed, scrolling through social media, or just watching our favorite show despite having a lot of things to do on our desk. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how we can study, probably for long hours, even when we don't feel like it. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm Samuel. I'm a second year medical student currently studying in Russia. And on this channel, Freeze Control, we talk about how we can be more productive, how we can study effectively, and generally my life as a medical student. So if you're up for topics like this, a sub to the channel will be a very amazing thing to do. To cut to the chase, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with us some tips that I've learned or that I actually use that help me get out of the cycle of just sitting around not doing anything when we have a lot of things to do. I'll leave the timestamps on the screen and also in the description box. If you love, you can skip around to any part of the video. But of course, I'll suggest you watch every single bit of the video so you can learn everything in total. First, before we go into the tips at all, at this point we have to understand that we have to throw away the idea that we need motivation, feeling energy, or inspiration to actually get some things done. These concepts could have actually helped us at some point in time to actually get some things done, but they won't always be there, and as such they can't form a productive system for us to use every single time, as they might not be readily available when we need them. Also, another important thing we have to understand is where the problem is coming from. Why do we actually sit down and do nothing when we have a lot of things to do? The problem a lot of people face, people like me, is that we mentally sometimes visualize what we have to do. So if we have maybe probably 2 or 3 things to do, we really keep them in our head and just think, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Most time I've also fallen into the trap of thinking that I really have a lot of things to do when they are not really a lot. And the problem is because when we actually have some things to do, a lot or not a lot, our brains do a great job in confusing us about the magnitude of what we really have to do at a particular point in time. The first tip I'm going to be sharing with us today in this video is that we need to first get these things we have to do out of our brains into another system. This system can actually be a journal, a notebook, a sheet of paper, or even a great app like Notion that I personally use every single day. And the essence of this is that because sometimes when we feel like we really have a lot of things to do, we literally feel the weight on our shoulders, like there's a lot of things to do, and sometimes we procrastinate that I really can't be bothered by doing that. If we go through the first step of writing it down, taking these things we have to do out of our brains into a different system, then we now have a clearer vision, maybe not the clearest vision, but a clearer vision of what we need to do. Of course, we're here to help ourselves, so you can pause the video and go through this first step of copying everything down from your brain to the book. So if you've got that, let's go to the next one. So the second step after getting them down is that now we want to break them down. I want to break them down to the extent that we can break them anymore. I explained this in one of my earlier videos that if I write down a checklist that I have to get a video done, I have to study anatomy, I have to study microbiology, I have to study physiology, and the list goes on like that, I could write this list anyhow I want to write it. The problem is that this list is kind of vague, and I will 100% or 80% of the time procrastinate what I have to do because I feel like I don't have a clear direction of where I'm going. So if I want to study anatomy, I could break it down to the topic I want to study, I could break it down to the pages I want to study, break it down to the questions I want to answer, and I could even break it down to the paragraphs that I actually want to study. So breaking this down helps us focus more on a short-term goal rather than a long-term goal that I'll be talking about soon. Now the third tip, or the series of tips I'm going to be giving next, are going to cover how we can break the cycle of actually sitting down and doing nothing. Now the problem is that when we are procrastinating or doing something that we are not actually meant to be doing at a particular point in time, the truth is that if you're kind of like me, we kind of feel guilty at this point of our lives, or probably when we're procrastinating we feel like I'm not meant to actually be doing this. And the truth is that when we feel this guilt, our brain does another great work of actually looking for excuses for us, like it's just too hard, I can't do it, it's just me, that's just me, I just need one more episode, I just need one more. Those are the excuses our brains give us. And so because of this, we want to give ourselves a guilty-free moment. Like, don't just feel guilty. And moving on to the next one, the fourth tip. After we've gotten ourselves the guilty-free moment, the next thing to do is to turn it off. You need to turn it off because you are probably at a state of being not productive, and now moving to a state of being productive or doing some things that you need to do. You need a break between not being productive and then starting to get productive. It doesn't move smoothly from not being productive into being productive. There needs to be a break between that, and so that is why you need to turn it off. You need to turn the phone off, turn the iPad off, turn the video off, and just create a break in transmission in the cycle. After we've taken a step of breaking the transmission between not being productive and being productive, now we're moving to the state of being productive and we want to grow our productivity in a steady motion. And the next thing we have to do, the fifth tip, is to get organized. What we want to be doing is that we want to reduce the friction between us and studying. So probably your study area is very disorganized. Your brain might not be comfortable studying at that particular position. So we need to create a conducive environment for our brains to study or for our bodies to work. So we need to start getting organized. Getting organized could even mean just laying your bed, arranging your shoe rack, or getting your books together, because this gives us little shots of dopamine and it creates a reward loop. So you want to do more actions that will give you the happiness of being productive. So this little process of getting organized gives us little dopamine shots that help us to get into the productivity state. Another aspect under this tip is that we can actually exercise. You could go for a walk. While exercising or going for a walk, you could listen to your best playlist or best song that motivates you. At this point, we're actually getting ourselves together, getting the brain warm. Now we're taking the brain from the environment of eating things up and not doing anything to doing something, and it's now getting work done, listening to music, exercising, taking a walk, thinking, meditating, arranging your shoe rack, laying your bed. Those kind of things warm our brain up and it's ready to work. And this next tip comes after we've gotten organized and we've started working. The next thing we need to do is that we want to take scheduled breaks. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Wait, it's tricky at this point because we want to give our brain the sense that we understand that it's kind of hard for you, but we're going to be giving you this amount of break so that you don't do anything, you just rest. And so the brain kind of looks forward to these breaks and does a lot of work at a particular period of time, probably 20 minutes, probably 30 minutes or 40 minutes, and then looks forward to the break. I've got Study With Me playlist on my channel. You could check them out to actually follow these scheduled times and breaks, or you could just use your timer on your phone or on your wristwatch to actually get these scheduled breaks. Now there's this very important part. We don't want to take breaks with what led us to the first cycle. So if I want to study for the next 4 hours, taking the breaks of 10 minutes after every 40 minutes reading, I don't want to go to my phone during those 10 minutes. Why? Because my phone could actually lead me back into the cycle of not being productive. I could just go on YouTube, watch a 20 minutes video, from there to another video, from there to another video, and a break of 10 minutes could actually become a break of 2-3 hours, 10 years. No, I'm just joking. So during these breaks, we don't want to be using or going through what actually led us into the first cycle. You could actually take a walk, you could walk out, you could speak to a friend, if that won't lead you to the first cycle. And finally, on the tips, let's say we've gotten ourselves out of the cycle, we've been organized, we've started studying, we're taking our breaks. It gets to a point that our concentration falls, and at that point we're probably mentally drained and we're really tired. At this point, I would love us to actually change the environment, change the system, put a little bit of fun, put a little bit of flair. You could change the music you're listening to, you could listen to something more dramatic, you could do anything, you could go study anywhere else just to make the brain feel like it's doing something entirely different. These tips we've shared today will actually help us build a sustaining system that will always be there readily available for us, and we can be as productive and we can study for as long as we want, because they don't rely on motivation or inspiration to actually get anything done. If you love the video, please hit the like button. If you're ready to work, to probably do some things, you can click on one of my Study With Me videos that will probably be on the screen to get some things done, or you can watch my other videos about productivity or time management or being organized on the channel. If you're not yet a subscriber, a sub to the channel will be a very amazing thing to do. Don't also forget to leave a comment below for me in the comment section. That's been it. Thank you for watching and catch you in the next one.